and is the custodian of the following functions: membership and related systems, deployment, monitoring and evaluation of governance, particularly MKP caucuses and public representatives, is working with the national organizer. Communications and security. The Secretary General, in concurrence with the national organizer, is responsible for the establishment of MKP structures and the needs. Deputy Secretary General assists the Secretary General and is also responsible for the human capital and of the organization and all contractual obligations. National organizer, responsible for organizing, development of MKP organizational documents and guidelines, political education, policy and research, monitoring and evaluation of governance, particularly MKP caucuses and public representatives, working with the Secretary Generals of CADAC deployment. The national organizer is also responsible for the representation of MKP in the IEC structures. The national organizer, in concurrence with the Secretary General, is responsible for the establishment of MKP structures and the needs. The national chairperson. National chairperson will preside over all high command meetings and national gatherings of the MKP. The chairperson is also responsible for stakeholder relations, particularly traditional leaders and religious sector. Deputy National Chairperson will deputize the National Chairperson and will be responsible for looking after the welfare of military veterans. The National High Command will immediately reconfigure the provincial detachments, regional detachments, and the leadership composition of the Women League, Youth League, and Students' Movement. The prerogative to appoint the leadership structures remains that of the President through the Secretary General's office. The National High Command will also establish the necessary support structures and committees, including the Finance Committee, Communications Committee, Economic Transformation Committee, Safety and Security Committee, Social Transformation Committee, and other ad hoc committees for specific functions. The High Command will also convene a national policy conference to discuss and adopt the finalized policies on all areas affecting our communities and society. Underneath the High Command, the MKP will be led by provincial detachments composed of provincial commander, coordinator, organizer, and fundraiser, and 2 people representing each region in the province, and 2 representatives of each league of the MKP. Underneath the provinces will be regional detachments composed of regional coordinator, convener, organizer, and fundraiser, and 2 representing each sub-region or zone in the said region, and the representatives of the league. Underneath the regional detachments will be sub-regional detachments, which will be organized alongside local municipalities and zones in the case of metropolitan municipalities. The sub-regional detachments will be led by sub-regional conveners and coordinators. The immediate task of all these structures is to put in place sub-regional and zonal structures, which will in turn launch VT-based structures as the most basic unit of the MKP. The roles of all MKP structures, members, and activists will be to take up community issues and prepare for the upcoming elections, which the MKP will win decisively. The structures we are establishing are not established for elective conferences. because we will not convene any elective conference until we have maximum stability and presence in all corners of South Africa. The MKP is at its establishment process and will not convene elective conferences because we know what such can do to undermine our unity and progress as an organization. We commit that the leadership collective we are announcing today is the leadership of MKP, and there will not be constant changes because we took our time to consult and finalize the collective. We have full confidence in the names of all the people we have identified, including those who are still going to join our liberation. We will, however, not tolerate laziness and divisive leaders whose only and primary purpose is to sow divisions in our land. We will, however, not tolerate laziness and divisive leaders whose only and primary purpose is to sow division in our land. I repeat, we as the MKP call for the unity and unification of all progressive political parties to fight against white minority rule in South Africa. Again, let me repeat. We as the MKP call for the unity and unification of all progressive political parties to fight against white minority rule in South Africa. We have an obligation as progressive forces to rise above our differences and build a solid and sound organization that will represent our people genuinely. There is unnecessarily a high number of political parties in South Africa, and such undermines the unity of the oppressed who have still not won the struggle against colonialism. Those who defeated us and continue to oppress us are united, but we the oppressed are divided into many small parties. We as the MKP will strive for the ultimate unity of political parties that represent our people. We remain opposed to the so-called government of national unity because it is not a government of national unity, but a coalition between the ANC of Ramaphosa and the Democratic Alliance. We will, as the MKP, be the voice of the voiceless and will represent ordinary people on the ground. We will, as the MKP, be the voice of the voiceless and will represent ordinary people on the ground. We will fight for real economic transformation and redress of the imbalances of the past. We will uproot all the consequences of apartheid and colonialism.